So I'm going to be taking a break from doing YouTube, pretty much streaming for now. I really had a lot of stuff going on recently, stuff that's like been happening in the background. So thank you very much for understanding, and I really appreciate all you guys. So take it easy, keep it real. Come on. How's it going, everybody? My name is Biffy, and welcome back. I'm back. Hello. What's up? So, I had my little break, and I'm feeling a lot better. Not like 100%, because, you know, can't ever be 100% better. Why do I have keys in my pocket? I wasn't going anywhere. So, I had my little break started on Monday, and then guess what happened on Tuesday? I immediately got sick. So, I called into work on Tuesday. No, I called into work on Wednesday. And I was home. I had fever. It was like super high. And I had like the chills. And my daughter was sick at the same time. She got sick on Tuesday. I got sick on Tuesday night. And she woke up on Tuesday sick. Called into work Wednesday. Stayed home. I thought, okay, I'll probably be better. I usually am. So, you know, why not just call into work, take a break. So I was taking a double break. I took a break from YouTube, and I was taking a break from work. I thought it would be a good day, just stay at home, relax. No, it got worse. So on Thursday, I called into work again. After I told him, I said I was going back in probably, and my boss was like, oh, okay, cool. And then called her again. I was like, hey, probably not coming into work today either. She was like, oh, I hope you get better. And Friday, I didn't want to get, you know, my 3 days in a row because there's point system or whatever. I went into work because I wasn't really nauseous anymore. And then I went in, and then I bared through the 8 hours or 8.5 hours, whatever the hell it was. Went home, felt sick that night. Woke up on Saturday feeling alright, and that was my daughter's birthday party day, because her birthday is tomorrow on Tuesday. And I felt alright, and you know, I was a little congested, and I felt better than I did the whole week. And we got everything set up, and it was alright. And then as the party started coming to a close, I felt a little soreness in the back of my throat, and got home. I blew my nose real hard once, and I looked inside the tissue, and it was this huge dark brown cluster of mucus with blood in it. It had blood in it. So I was like, great, now I've got a sinus infection. So today is Sunday, and this video is going to come out on Monday. So all night I was battling that. Woke up this morning on Sunday, and I did this thing called a neti pot. I don't know if you guys know what it is. There's a bunch of different styles of neti pot. It's this little bottle, and the original one looks like a tea. It's like a tea kettle, but the one I got is a bottle, and you squeeze it, and it's water. It's saline water that goes in your nostril, and it comes out the other side. So it pushes all that crap out. And I was looking in the sink, and it was just tons and tons of this mucusy, nasty crap. And I was just like, I don't know if I've got a brain bleed or something's going on. I don't know. I was starting to freak out. I was like, I need to go to the doctor. I need to go to the doctor. Well, Sunday, doctor's offices aren't really open, and the ones that are open, they don't really open until like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So me and my wife had been planning on taking our daughter to Discovery Park, which is a place nearby. It's local. It's like a museum and stuff. So I said, I'm not gonna let this keep me down. I don't feel nauseous. I don't think I'm running a fever. We went there, had a good day, came back, and I've been feeling a little bit better. I'm not having the freaking mucus blood or anything. But when we got back on Saturday, I was sitting there, I sneezed, and I felt something cold right here, and I looked, I had my phone, I had a freaking nasty, giant blood snot bubble coming out of my nose. It was awful. I'm not going to show you guys because I don't want you to throw up or anything, but if you want to see, go to the Discord and I'll message it to you personally. But it was nasty, it was gross. So basically this whole vacation, the only thing I got to do was sit down, feel miserable, and watch documentaries about space. And I also started watching that Paramount series, Waco, which it was pretty good. I like that. It was a good show. It's still got new episodes coming out. And also, when I got sick and called in the first day, my CPU came in the mail. My wife was like, "Oh, hey, look, your CPU came in. That's awesome." And I was like, yeah, just set it under the TV over there on the shelf. So I had to sit there and just look at my new CPU that I could have been playing with and having fun and setting it up and getting to play with and testing all this stuff out. Couldn't do it though. Had to wait till Friday until I could actually stand up and walk around. So I got my CPU, and my thermal paste hadn't come in the mail yet, which is something you have to do whenever you're installing it. But the thermal paste came on the heat sink already, so I thought, oh, okay, I'll put it on there. And one of my friends told me, you're not supposed to, you know, scrape that crap off. You need to actually use the real thermal paste because that stuff's not worth it. So I went ahead and put it on there just to test it out because I was too excited. And the CPU works great, except the fan is super loud. I don't even know if you can hear it right now, but it's super loud. But so far so good. I got my thermal paste in, and I reapplied it. I got everything working appropriately. So you might be able to see some new games that I've been wanting to play for a while. The CPU is going to be able to handle like PUBG. Subnautica is going to look a lot better. Things are going to start running a little bit more smooth. Hopefully I can start taking the my OBS and making the streams a lot more clearer. I can turn my bit rate up so we can actually start running some high quality streams. So I got a lot of things coming up in the works. Got a lot of games that I'm going to be playing. And I really appreciate you guys, all the sweet things that you said in the comments and stuff. I did get a few comments, however, that I wasn't really appreciative of. I mean, I know everybody feels different about everything, but there was a few people that didn't really understand where I was coming from whenever I was telling, you know, about the reasons why I needed to take my break. So I just kind of want to go ahead and tell a little bit of the story about why I took my break, because I don't feel like you guys like need to hear it or whatever, but I feel like it's something that might help some people in the future, because I haven't went to see, you know, a doctor yet to say that I have depression or whatever, but there's some things that happened to me not long ago, about 4 years ago, when I was in the military, and I've said this several times on the channel, but I've never like really went into the story at all. But when I was in the military, I did my basic training and everything went fine through that. But when I got to my AETC place, like where I was supposed to be training to do my actual job, which is a KC-135 integrated avionics aircraft mechanic person. I basically joined so I could fix airplanes. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be intelligence, but I didn't have enough of that, so they wouldn't let me in to the intelligence program. It's a knee slapper. But when I got to my AETC place, I don't really want to say where it was or anybody's names, because I don't want this to have to come up anywhere in case it ever does. But I was in the southern Gulf region. It was about 7 hours away from home, and there were some things that happened where me and my wife thought we were going to be having a baby, but it didn't turn out that that was going to happen, just to keep that short and simple. And I had trouble focusing in school, and I talked to some people about what was going on, like some of my superiors, and they didn't really seem interested in working with me and like helping me feel better about some things. And whenever I started doing worse in my classes, I failed one test, and you only get 2 chances. If you fail once, and they give you one more chance, and after that they reclass you into a different job, and this time you don't have a choice in what job it is. It's like you go where the military wants you to go, like wherever they need the most, you know, openings at. So they asked me why I failed, and I told them, I said, you know, I've got some things going on at home, and I just can't focus. You know, there's things that I can't really, take care of because I'm not at home. And you know, my wife was pretty much all alone. You know, she had my family and her family, but you know, she and I both wanted to be together so we could go over these things with each other, and it was really emotional and sad, and I feel like I regretted everything that I did, like joining the military. I felt like, you know, it was a big mistake at the time, and there was no way that I could take it back. And I felt like, you know, since I can't be there for her, what if she, you know, what if this doesn't work out between us? Like, all these bad things were going through my mind, and my superiors weren't making it any better by them saying, you know, if you fail your next test, you might be getting reclassed into a different job and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. So I tried going to study groups, I tried studying with my friends and stuff, but I just couldn't sleep at night. And before, they made me sign a contract that stated that I would study up to 4 to 5 hours a night, and everybody had to sign the contract. It was mandatory. You couldn't not sign it. And whenever I failed the second time, there was a commander over the school, and then there was the civilian commander over the school, and they called me into their office, and they were just giving me hell, just verbally, without even asking me, like, why, like, what's my excuse or anything. And like, you know, I started feeling nauseous and stuff. They told me that I was going to be court-martialed, that they were going to sue me because I didn't follow my contract, because they asked me, they said, how many hours are you studying a day? What's your reason for not failing or for not passing? And I said, you know, I probably didn't study as much as I needed to because I failed, obviously, but, you know, I've got these things going on at home, and they weren't interested in hearing that. And they told me that they were going to work with a lawyer and get me into a court martial and a lawsuit and all this stuff. So I started freaking out. Because I was only like 21 years old. I was like 20 years old or something. I can't remember. And like I was freaking out thinking I'm about to get court-martialed. And, you know, that's a big deal in the military. And whenever I left their office, I had to walk back on my own. And it was like a mile walk back to where I lived, the dormitory. And I wasn't allowed back at school until they called me back. So they called me back and they said, we've got a couple options here. What would you like to do? And this was a civilian guy, and I talked to him before, and he's really nice. And I actually liked him because he gave me these options, and I'm pretty sure at the time if the superiors that I were talking to before, they wouldn't have given me the option to leave. But this dude said, you know, we're going to reclass you into security forces because that's what's available right now, or you can separate from the Air Force. I said, what does that mean exactly? He said, you can go back to being a civilian. I was like, that's an option? How long has that been an option for? Because I didn't know. And he said because of, you know, the climate of the, you know, funding and everything is so bad that they're actually like letting people out of the military because, you know, if they fail their PT test or something like that, they don't want to, you know, be wasting money on people that can't perform like expected. So I said, check please, I want to leave. That would be great. I thought, you know, I'll be out of here in like, what, a week? Get all these papers signed, get out of here. So I went back to my my dorm, talked to my immediate superior and told him what was going on. And he signed my paper, and then he told me to get out of his office, and he didn't want to talk to me anymore. He said I needed to report to this thing called AFI, which is awaiting further instruction. And whenever I went to that the next morning, I had to appear in uniform and everything. And it's basically where you do things that are just like minuscule tasks that other people aren't doing, like laundry, gate guard, where you check people's ID and you let them into the military base, or like you mop and sweep the dormitories and stuff like that. So I said, you know, I can handle this for a couple of weeks. What's the deal? And I started talking to some of the people that were in AFI as well. And they said that they had been there for months. And I was just like, well, how long? And it's like, I've been here for 6 months. And I was just like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm separating from the military. I was like, oh my God, I'm stuck here. My wife has got these problems. She's alone. They can't come and see me. And I'm going to be here for 6 months. And I tried every option before. I said, can she come live with me on base? Can she come live off base? And they were like, yes, but you can't stay with her. You can't see her. And I was just like, this can't happen. This is ridiculous. I started getting scared and nervous. And I come to find out the people that I was in AFI with, they had done some way worse things than just failing tests. They, some of them had gotten pulled over for DUIs when they weren't even supposed to be driving vehicles. Some of them had some sexual assault stuff going on. And, there were things like that were happening. And, I was just like trying to stay away from everybody. And I had gotten just verbally hounded daily by my superiors, who will remain nameless. And it just was a really, really bad time. I could go into much further detail on everything, but I had to stay there I graduated in February, or I graduated in January from basic training, and I stayed there until the end of April, beginning of May, I think. So I was there for a long time doing these crappy tasks because I was only in school for like 2 weeks, and they would keep me up like for 24 hours doing, you know, night CQ, or you just sit at a desk and then you go outside and you do fire watch, where you walk around and check the building and stuff like that. And they would come in and do like they would get the drug dog in and they would check your wall locker and your closet and stuff, and they would just trash my room on purpose. They would throw everything around. They took all the letters that my wife wrote to me and they threw them in the floor and like walked all over them, and they would like pour out my mouthwash stuff, and they just trashed my room. And, you know, everybody looked at me like I was turning my back on my country and everything, and that's what everybody had told them to do, basically. And I had to go through that for months, with that kind of torture daily, with people like talking way worse than I can say on YouTube. And this was the time of year that all that stuff was going on, and every year it just kind of comes back, you know, and I start thinking about it, and you know, you get those reminders on Facebook and on your phone and stuff that say, look where you were at 4 years ago. And I was like, hey, thanks. It's a good time. I got home. It's military lifestyle versus civilian lifestyle, especially what I went through, where you were expected to be like a prisoner, almost like held against your will. Like you still are expected of military standards, even though you are like a semi-civilian. You had such and such curfew, and like I was treated very much differently than other airmen. And they told me I wasn't an airman anymore. And one person tried to take away my airman coin, which is like something I worked really, really hard for. And I feel really bad telling all this, because I'm not like harping on the Air Force. I really appreciate the things that our military does for us. But some of the people that were over me, they have a very different viewpoint on how things are done. And I didn't agree with any of it, and it really left a mark on me. And like I was saying, it really comes back to me from the things that I had done to me that, you know, I can't really say on YouTube, but it was something else. And there was, you know, I just kind of felt like telling this story, because I know that there are some people that have had similar things happen to them. You know, maybe it's at school or work, or like a college professor or something, you know, whatever it may be. You can overcome it. It's really difficult. If you feel like you need to talk to somebody, always talk to somebody. Don't let the dark thoughts and the dark feelings like overcome you, because it's really easy to let that happen, especially when you do have other stresses going on, like work and school, and you've got these feelings that are happening to you. It's really it can be really load bearing on you. And then once you reach that point, you start thinking really bad thoughts, because I've been there. I've been there just that one time when I was in the Air Force. And if I didn't have certain family members calling me, like my brother called me like every night, and he talked to me just to make sure I was okay. And we would just talk about random stuff just to get my mind off things. And if I didn't have somebody to talk to, things would have went really, really differently. And, you know, I may not have been here talking to you today. So going to somebody and talking about your problems, whatever they are, is better than letting them sit in and let those hooks sink in and get a hold of you, you know. And that's really my whole point of taking the break. You know, I've taken breaks before, but they were for different reasons. This was more so I could get my mentality in check, because I've been having a lot of things go on that's just been one thing right after another on top of everything. And I wanted to kind of relay this message to anybody, because I've had several people since I've started doing YouTube that have personally emailed me or messaged me saying, you know, how much I've changed their life, which it's really weird to, you know, feel like that, because people say that, you know, they sit there and they wait for my video to come out or my stream, and then they get really excited because of like how it makes their day so much better. And I personally don't see how I can do that, because, you know, I'm constantly screwing stuff up, or I'm like doing bad at games all the time. But there's a lot of people out there that have personally messaged me having some similar issues, and I just wanted to, you know, share my history and my story about how I've had something like that happen to me, and I'm still not completely over it. I don't know if I ever will be. You know, it's always healthy to talk to people, you know, even talking to a doctor. It's really hard, but it definitely helps. So thanks again to everybody. You guys said some really sweet things, and you're all really supportive, and I'm way more grateful than I can put into words. And just being able to sit down and relax, even though I was sick, has been a real blessing. And I'm really excited to get back into this. Hopefully you'll see a brand new energy in me that is super excited and wanting to create more and do more, and just I feel like I got a new fire under me. It might be the fever that's keeping me feeling like I've got a fire underneath me, but I'm not sure. But thank you guys so much for my break. I really appreciate it. I'll be streaming tonight probably, so be on the lookout for that. And thanks again. Take it easy. Keep it real. Game on.